Hey guys, Jeff here from Films at Home. What's going on? I'm back with another video. It's been 2 or 3 weeks since I started the channel, and we've already got 200 subs, so it's incredible. Thank you so much to everyone who's already subscribed here. But the one thing I haven't done, I've done a few collection spotlights where I showed you my Criterion collection, my Scream Factory collection, those kind of things. But I haven't done a collection update where I've shown you what I've picked up over the last couple of weeks or what the studios have sent me to review. I do get, quite a few review copies from the studios every now and then. So I'm going to run you through this little stack of movies here, show you what I got. So let's dive into it. So first up here, guys, I did recently pick up a 4K version of Alien Covenant. I really liked Prometheus, and I know that's probably an unpopular opinion, but I love the Alien movies. I really like Prometheus, and so I'm excited to check this one out. I got this 4K copy here. It's actually a used copy, but you'd never be able to tell. It came in great shape. Doesn't have a slip cover, but it came in great shape from Bull Moose, and I got it for about 12 bucks, so you can't really beat that deal. Another one I picked up here from Bull Moose, Hamburger Hill. This is only about $8. I'd heard some pretty good things about this. Apparently it's, extremely violent and realistic, but I'm a sucker for war movies. I love stuff like Saving Private Ryan. I loved Fury. I cannot wait to see Dunkirk. I can't believe I missed that one in theaters. But I love war movies. Hacksaw Ridge, one of my favorites of all time. And so I'm excited to check this out. Like $8 at Bull Moose, brand new. Can't beat that price. So definitely a good pickup. And if you're into these kind of movies, I recommend grabbing this one. So here's one I picked up from Best Buy during their buy one get one free sale. Basketball, classic comedy. It's got Trey Parker and Matt Stone, the creators of South Park. I really loved this the first time I saw it, and it hadn't had a Blu-ray release yet. So Best Buy just put these out. They're Best Buy exclusives. Like it says, you can only get it at Best Buy. But I highly recommend grabbing this one if you can still find it. I have a feeling that these are going to go quick. There was only one left on the shelf when I grabbed this. But for $8 a piece and buy one, get one, you can get two movies for $4. And, being a Best Buy exclusive, that's a pretty good deal. Here's the other Best Buy exclusive here that I grabbed in the buy one, get one. It's EDTV, another kind of older comedy that hadn't come to Blu-ray yet. Matthew McConaughey, Woody Harrelson. I'm pretty excited to check this one out. I don't know a whole lot about it. It seems kind of like The Truman Show, if The Truman Show was a lot more comedic and less kind of dramatic, especially towards the end. So it's an interesting premise. It's been done before, obviously, but for $4, it's worth checking out. And again, it's a Best Buy exclusive, so I wanted to make sure I had it in my collection. You have to get it at Best Buy, so I picked this one up. So if you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen this one posted before. I ran out on release day and grabbed this Target exclusive digibook of Wonder Woman. I opted to skip the 4K. I just didn't feel like it was really necessary for these movies. They're scanned in 2K for theaters. It's not a noticeable upgrade, and I'd rather get the packaging. And I don't buy movies twice, so it's either this or the 4K. I opted for this. It's got a cool cover. You can see it flips from Wonder Woman back to her kind of civilian costume here versus her superhero costume. So that's pretty cool. It's a digibook, so it's got some extra stuff on the inside. Just a simple one disc, but the artwork's really cool. And I have the Batman vs Superman one that has the same type of packaging. So I want to keep things consistent, so I grabbed this one. All right, now we're going to dive into some review copies I got from the studios. Cult of Chucky here. I just grabbed this the other day. Universal Studios sent it out to me. It's got a cool kind of lenticular slipcover. I can't wait to check this out. I haven't had a chance to pop it in yet, but I heard really good things from people who had seen it. It's surprisingly good, I guess, for a kind of straight to Blu-ray sequel. This didn't really get any time in theaters, but I heard a lot of good reviews from horror people. I'm excited to check it out. And if you go to my Instagram page right now, we're actually giving away a copy of this between me and my buddy Blu-ray Dan. So definitely go check that out, Films at Home on Instagram. The contest is open for another 2 days. It's open till Sunday, so you'll want to check that out if you're watching this video in real time. But I'm excited to check this out. I'm really happy they sent it to me with the slipcover. It's a very cool release. Definitely cool by Universal to release this one, to Blu-ray, since it was up in the air for a little bit what was going to happen with it. So I'm excited for it. Definitely recommend you grabbing it next week when it comes out. Here's another one I grabbed from the studios. Warner Brothers sent me this. It's Justice League The New Frontier, the commemorative edition. So this is a brand new edition of this movie. This has been released before, but this version has, a lot more bonus content and special features. I believe the slipcover is also new, and the artwork's new. So I really like the front cover. It's an embossed slipcover. It's very nice. and it kind of has a World War II propaganda like poster feel to it. But instead of, G.I. Joe or Uncle Sam, we've got Wonder Woman and the Flash and Superman. And so it's a really cool concept. I'm really excited to check this one out. I've really enjoyed a lot of the other DC Comics animated movies. And so I'm definitely excited to add this to my collection. I didn't own the previous version, so it's great to grab this one, and I'm excited to check it out and definitely recommend it. If you haven't bought this yet, this is probably the version to own. So kind of a weird one here that I never heard of from Universal. It's called Moon, Guardian of the Moon. Kind of repetitive. It's got a decent voice cast in it. It's got like Rob Lowe. It's got Patton Oswalt. Some well-known people, but I've never heard of it. If you guys have seen this or know about it, let me know. I guess I'll have to check it out eventually, but kind of looks like just some standard animated fare. I think it's actually a foreign movie that they then have dubbed over for the US, so that's how you got some of these big name people. But I'm not super excited about this one. Sometimes I get movies and I'm like, whatever, not for me, but cool to add to the collection. So another one here from the studios. This came in from Lionsgate late last week. It's an A24 release, which have been excellent lately. You're talking The Witch, Ex Machina, some really, really great underrated movies. And I've heard really good things about A Ghost Story. The trailer's a little confusing. It kind of, gives you this thought that maybe it's all about, this ghost in this one house, and it's kind of a, an emotional movie, but, it actually goes through time, and, the ghost sticks with this house over hundreds and hundreds of years, and it tells a really cool story, just kind of about time, and how time passes and how things change. And it's kind of a slow draw. It's definitely not like a horror movie. If anyone thinks like A Ghost Story is about that, it's not. It's more of an emotional drama, but it's a really good movie. Another one from A24 that's going to be on a lot of people's I think underrated lists for the year. I definitely recommend picking this up. I believe it comes out next week or very soon after. So, if you've been grabbing A24 titles, a lot of people have that I know, that I talk to in the collector kind of world. So this is another one you're going to want to grab. It's very good. It's a little different than usual, but I do recommend it. So here's another one from Universal. It's The Book of Henry. You'll notice that one of the kids here on the cover is from It. He was the older brother of Georgie in It. I can't remember his name, but he was pretty good in the movie. It also has the kid next to him with the glasses is Jacob Tremblay, who was nominated for an Oscar for The Room. So a pretty good child cast. And then you're talking Naomi Watts and Dean Norris from Breaking Bad. He was Hank Schrader in Breaking Bad. So a pretty good cast. It's about kind of this single mom and her kid is a genius, and there's kind of that whole struggle. It's a pretty standard drama, kind of that whole my kid's a genius, what do I do with him type thing. But not a bad watch, a pretty good cast. I'm not sure if it's a day one pickup, but if you see this one floating around, maybe take a look at it. Maybe it's worth a rent, or when it hops onto Netflix, check it out then. Cool to add to the collection, but I wouldn't necessarily say you got to run out and grab this one day one. So this is a little bit older. Some of you guys probably have this by now, but this is The Mummy with Tom Cruise, also from Universal. Honestly, this was supposed to kind of spurn a franchise and start a whole franchise of Universal monsters, where they're going to do The Mummy, they're going to do Frankenstein, they're going to do Dracula. They're going to kind of take their characters and turn it into a cinematic universe. After watching this, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, even you got Tom Cruise in this, but it's really kind of a ridiculous movie. It's way over the top. It's not good. It is like the most generic popcorn movie ever. I mean, it's fun to watch. There are some cool action scenes, but Tom Cruise is just jumping out of buildings, jumping out of planes, just doing every crazy stunt he can. I honestly think he's starting to lose it a little bit. Scientology's getting to him. He hasn't made a good movie in a while outside of Mission Impossible, so maybe he should reconsider that whole Scientology thing and focus on his career. But The Mummy, I wouldn't say this is worth a pickup right away. Maybe find it when it goes on sale for $5, in a couple of months, maybe around Black Friday. It's not that good, and honestly, if they try to start a franchise with this, I think they're in trouble. So here's one I just grabbed today from Universal again. It's called Beguiled. Definitely not up my alley. I don't like these period dramas where everyone's dressed up like Marie Antoinette. It's not my thing. But it has a pretty good cast. It has Colin Farrell, it has Nicole Kidman, it has Kirsten Dunst and Elle Fanning. It's set during Civil War era in Virginia, kind of focuses on a girls' boarding school. And it is marked as a thriller. It's also written and directed by Sofia Coppola. So, there are some big names behind this. It's not necessarily my thing. I don't like the period pieces. But as you can see here, it is certified fresh by Rotten Tomatoes. So, it's worth a watch. I'll give it a try. If I hate it, I'll shut it off. But, it talks about it being an atmospheric thriller, which I don't get a real vibe from, based on the front cover and how it looks. But there could be something interesting behind this. So, I'll check this out and I'll let you guys know how it is. So last but not least, Vinegar Syndrome recently sent me 3 movies to check out and review. First one here is Trip with the Teacher. Kind of an old, I believe it's in the 70s this movie was created. Yeah, 74. Old kind of exploitation. A bunch of kids go on a trip with a teacher. They get stuck in the middle of nowhere. There's a crazy guy. Typical kind of 70s horror, right up there with, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and The Last House on the Left, and that kind of exploitation horror that was really popular during the 70s. So, I'll check these out. Vinegar Syndrome does a really good job with their transfers. Always have a ton of special features. So I definitely recommend, grabbing this if you're into this kind of thing. I think this is one of their better releases. So another one from Vinegar Syndrome here, Psychos in Love. So this is basically about 2 people, they fall in love, and they're psychos. Yes, the title is spot on. They're both cannibals, so they basically go around killing people and eating them. It is not your average horror movie. It's really more of a just shock and gore fest. Pretty standard fare for Vinegar Syndrome, though. This is right up their alley. Again, tons of special features on this. A new scan from the original 16mm camera negative, so it's as good as you'll ever see this. It's important that they preserve these films, and these films don't get lost, and they're available to, the next generation. As weird as they may be, they're important. It's film history. So not everyone's going to like this. If you do like this, remind me to give you a background check before we hang out. Just being safe. But, it's worth a pickup if you're into this kind of thing. It's very well done. A lot of special features, and, the transfer, as always, is impeccable from Vinegar Syndrome. Last one here from Vinegar Syndrome, it's Orgy of the Dead. On the back cover of this, they say that it's from the nudie, cutie period. So it's going to be pretty, a sexual movie, kind of a lot of gore, a lot of killing and sex and Orgy of the Dead. I mean, it's, explains itself really. Again, pretty typical for Vinegar Syndrome. They do some of the weirder stuff like this, but again, they've done a great job. They've restored this from the 35mm camera negatives, a full 2K restoration. They're preserving films. They're doing a great job getting them out to the masses. So if you're into this kind of thing, I recommend it, but it's definitely not for everybody, so make sure you check it out before you buy. So last thing here before I take off, and you might have seen this already if you follow me on Instagram, but I had recently done a few reviews of John Carpenter's stuff. I'm a huge fan, and I got in contact with one of his office managers, who then got me in touch with John, and we had exchanged a few emails. He sent me an autographed picture, which I have hanging up on my wall. After a few emails, though, he said, hey, do you want to send me a few things? I've heard about the collection. I had told his office manager I'm a huge fan. He said, send me a few things. And so I shipped this out here, Halloween 35th Anniversary Edition Digibook, shipped it out to John, came back a couple weeks later. He was extremely fast signing all this stuff, signed it right to me, to Jeff, best John Carpenter. He is the man. He signed this. He also signed a Scream Factory poster I had from The Thing. So when I pre-ordered The Thing, Scream Factory gives you the 18x24 poster. I shipped that to John. He also signed that, so that's now framed and out in my hallway in front of the home theater. And there's one more thing he signed, which is pretty cool, that I'll show you right here. So I don't have a ton of Funko, pop characters. I have a few of my favorites. I have like a Darth Vader, some of the Guardians of the Galaxy. This was the first one I ever got, though, Michael Myers. Obviously, he's my favorite character, my favorite horror movie of all time. And so I said, hey, let's ship this to John Carpenter. And it came back, signed, right on his head. Amazing that John Carpenter held this in his hand, his iconic character that he created. And he signed this for me and shipped it back. It's absolutely, a cornerstone of my collection now, along with the signed Blu-ray and the poster. He is my all-time favorite director, between The Thing, They Live, even Village of the Damned, and of course the Halloween movies. He's an incredible director. Escape from New York. I love all of his stuff. And so this really meant a lot, that he was willing to take the time, especially that he's doing a world tour right now with his music. And he took the time, signed a few things for me, shipped them back. He's a really cool guy. His team is great over at Storm King Productions. And I really appreciate it. So if they're watching this, thank you so much, guys. You really made my week when this stuff came in. So I do appreciate it. All right, so that's about it for today. I'll be doing these collection updates every 2 or 3 weeks as I get some new pickups, as stuff comes in from the studios to review. I get stuff pretty frequently, so you should see these, I'd say, every 2 weeks. Again, on just the standard stuff here, but I really appreciate the 200 subscribers in just 3 weeks. It's incredible. I knew some of my Instagram family would kind of, travel over and make the trip to YouTube to follow me here. But a lot of new people have found me here too and found my collection. It's 2,000 strong. It's getting bigger every day. I love it. It's something I have a passion for, and I appreciate anybody who wants to pay attention to what I have to say. So, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this, then definitely subscribe. Definitely like the video. Leave me a comment. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And just share this wherever you can. Share it on Twitter. Share it on Facebook. Share it on Instagram. Tag me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm more than happy to share your stuff as well. You can find me on Instagram. It's at films_at_home. So films_at_home. On Twitter, it's just Jeff Rossio. It's RAUSEO. I'll leave links in the description below too. But I really appreciate it, guys. Until next time, Jeff here from Films at Home, signing off. Appreciate your collection. Watch some great movies, and I'll talk to you all soon.